We the Pod Football, we disky, we stats, we goals, we history, we football, we hear people. We're back again and we're going to be talking about the Champions League this past week's fixtures, Tuesday and Wednesday. And we're going to be kicking it off with Bayern Munich versus Benfica. Bayern winning 1-0 against Benfica with a goal coming from Jamal Musiala, Vincent Kompany's side, doing really well to get points in the Champions League. However, they don't sit in an automatic last 16 place. Currently, they're in a playoff position. However, they still have a chance to progress in this Champions League, as well as Benfica being close to them in the new league format in the table. But they won 1-0. They did good to win 1-0 against the Portuguese side, but it finished as it finished for Bayern. Next match, Atalanta won 2-0 against VfB Stuttgart. Goals coming from Lookman and Nico Zaniolo in the 51st and the 88th minute respectively. The Italian side are looking sharp, mind you. They are the current Europa League champions, and they faced Real Madrid in the Super Cup, but Real Madrid won it. However, they're still champions and they're looking to cement a place in the last 16 of the Champions League. But the Italian side are being strong, to say the least. VfB Stuttgart, considered to be probably a mid-table German team. However, they have produced quality players such as Serge Gnabry and Joshua Kimmich and Timo Werner. So they're definitely a side with a lot of talent, with a lot of history, with a rich foundation. They're definitely a big team and they deserve to be in this season's Champions League. However, unfortunately, they were unable to get a win and they sit in an automatic elimination position. But Atalanta do well to get points. They're currently in 9th position in the Champions League. Next match, Inter Milan won 1-0 against Arsenal. A single goal coming from Hakan Çalhanoğlu in the 45th minute, a penalty for Inter Milan. It finished 1-0. Inter Milan didn't really look that dominant. Arsenal had the majority of the possession. However, Inter Milan more focused on a counter-attacking play, holding on to that 1-0 lead. Arsenal only managing 3 goals in 4 games. Mikel Arteta's side have been struggling to score in these past fixtures. The need for a centre forward is definitely becoming obvious as time goes on for Mikel Arteta. Mind you, it is his 5th season, and in his 5th season he's only managed a Community Shield and an FA Cup, so it's looking like the league campaign is over for Arsenal. They sit 10 points outside of first position in the Premier League and they lost 1-0 to Inter, so hasn't been looking too good for them. But Inter did well to win that match. Next match, however, Barcelona looked comfortable in a 5-2 win against Crvena Zvezda. A comfortable win for Hansi Flick's side. Goals coming from Martinez, 2 goals from Lewandowski, Rafinha and Lopez, all coming for Barcelona, and 2 goals from the Crvena Zvezda players Silas and Milson in the 27th and 84th minute respectively. You would have expected Barcelona to get a win. Maybe not this comfortable, but it was definitely a comfortable win. Crvena Zvezda, who are languishing at the bottom places of the Champions League, but it was a comfortable win for Barcelona. Next match, Brest took on Sparta Praha and they won 2-1 with goals coming from Fernandez and an own goal from the Sporting Praha player Karainin in the 79th minute. But they did manage to get a goal via Olatunji in the 92nd minute, but it finished 2-1 for Brest. Next match, Atletico Madrid, Diego Simeone's side winning 2-1 against Luis Enrique's side. PSG, a goal coming from Zaire Emery in the 14th minute. However, 4 minutes later, Molina leveled it for Atletico Madrid, and Atletico Madrid managing to get a 90th plus 3 minutes, in other words, 93-minute goal from Angel Carrera in the 93rd minute of the second half. Diego Simeone's side winning 2-1. They're currently in a last 16th playoff position, so they still have a chance to progress in this Champions League tournament, but they won 2-1 against PSG. PSG, who are currently outside of a playoff position, they sit in an elimination position in the Champions League, but they're doing well in League 1. They're not struggling there, but there's still 4 more games to go, people. But Atletico Madrid did well to win 2-1. Next match, RB Salzburg, the Austrian side, winning 3-1 against Feyenoord. The Dutch side, goals coming from Konate in the 45th minute and the 58th minute respectively, and Guido in the 86th minute for RB Salzburg. Feyenoord player Haji Musa scoring in the 81st minute, but that's all Feyenoord could do. Salzburg did well to win 3-1 against Feyenoord. Next match, Club Brugge winning 1-0 against Aston Villa. If you were a betting person, you really wouldn't have put your money on Club Brugge. Mind you, Aston Villa currently sit in 8th position in the Champions League, the last position of the automatic last 16 place. They lost 1-0 to Club Brugge with a goal coming from Vanaken in the 52nd minute. It was a penalty. A lot of people would say Tyrone Mings made a foolish error, but check it out, people. The Belgian side did well to win against Unai Emery's side. Next match, Shakhtar Donetsk winning 2-1 against Young Boys. This goals coming from Zubkov and Sudakov in the 31st and the 41st minute respectively of the first half for Shakhtar Donetsk. Imari also scoring in the 27th minute, but it finished 2-1 for Shakhtar Donetsk. It's been looking like a difficult campaign for Young Boys as expected. The Swiss side, not exactly one of the biggest sides. If you look at how much money some of the sides on the top half of the Champions League spend as comparison with Young Boys, it's not shocking to see why they are where they are. It's a relatively smaller side in this Champions League campaign, but they lost 2-1 to Shakhtar Donetsk. Next match, Bologna, the Italian side, losing 1-0 to the French side. Sort of French side, they play in the French league, but Monaco is its own country, people, but they do play in League 1, so we can definitely call them a French side. Monaco winning 1-0 against Bologna, a goal coming from the former West Ham man Thilo Kehrer, the German, scoring in the 86th minute of the second half. A single 1-0 win, but there's still 3 points, people, and they're doing really well. They're currently in 3rd place in the Champions League. Mind you, it is a league table format, and they're currently in 3rd place. People wouldn't have expected them to be this high so far, but we still have 4 more games to play, but they did well to win 1-0. Sporting Lisbon, as they were formerly known as, now they're called Sporting CP, with a shock win against Man City, a 4-1 drubbing at the hands of Sporting. This is a 4th loss for Pep Guardiola in a row. That's the first time that's happened with Pep Guardiola. He's never lost 4 in a row at Man City. It's been looking tough this season. Mind you, they're competing with Liverpool, who've been looking sharp to say the least in the Premier League as well as the Champions League. But it's looking really tough for them. But there's still hope. It's not like all is lost for them. You still trust Pep Guardiola is definitely the best manager in this generation. Football, he's definitely a legendary manager to say the least. So Man City fans are not worried about that, but they lost 4-1. Goals coming, a hat-trick from Victor Gyökeres, a man who was linked with a move to Arsenal. Mind you, Arsenal, as I mentioned earlier, been struggling to get goals in this season's campaign so far in all competitions. Victor Gyökeres would have been a nice signing for them, but the lack of centre forward, as I mentioned earlier, has been a problem for them. But he's been looking sharp. He was the Portuguese league's top scorer last season, and he's definitely on his way to winning that award again, or retaining it rather. He got a hat-trick against Man City and a goal coming from Arrejao. Phil Foden was the only player that could score for Man City. Mind you, they also lost 2-1 against Brighton in this past the Premier League matches, but they lost 4-1 at the hands of Sporting CP, whose manager is Ruben Amorim, who's now, as of today is the 11th of November, people, he is currently the Manchester United manager, meaning that Ruud van Nistelrooy is no longer the manager of Manchester United. But in his 3 to 4 games, he did manage 2 wins and a draw, so it's definitely a nice send-off of Ruud van Nistelrooy. It has been confirmed that it's not going to be part. Speculation say it has been confirmed that it's not going to be a part of Ruben Amorim's coaching staff. But can Ruben Amorim change it for Manchester United? Mind you, this is the new appointment via the Ineos ownership at Man United. Mind you, Jim Ratcliffe became a majority shareholder as well as with the Glazers, so Ineos has been making a lot of decisions, and it was their decision to finally get rid of Erik ten Hag. So it's going to be interesting to see how Manchester United's season progresses under Ruben Amorim in the remainder of the Premier League. Next match, Liverpool won 4-0 against Leverkusen, a hat-trick from Luis Diaz. Goals coming in the 61st minute, the 83rd minute, and the 92nd minute. What can I say about Liverpool, people? They've had a red-hot season in the Champions League and in the Premier League. They currently sit top in both leagues, people. Arne Slot has been definitely kicked off to a purple patch in Liverpool. They'll definitely be happy with that appointment. Jurgen Klopp is now becoming a distant memory. The red side of Merseyside is definitely doing really well. Can they win the Champions League? Can they win the Premier League? But they're comfortable in the Premier League, people. Currently 5 points clear in the Premier League. But they sit 2 points clear in the Champions League, so Liverpool fans will definitely be happy. Also, Cody Gakpo, the Dutchman, coming with a goal in the 63rd minute, making it the 4th goal. Xavi Alonso's side were destroyed in that match. He was definitely, though, happy to come back to Anfield, the former player, but unfortunately he couldn't get to winning ways. It wasn't expected, people. Liverpool winning 4-0 against Bayer Leverkusen. Next match, a 1-1 draw, Lille versus Juventus. Goals coming from Jonathan David, the Canada international. Currently the 4th highest goal scorer in this Champions League. Has been looking sharp, scoring 10 goals and scoring 14 goals, 10 goals coming from open play and then 4 goals coming from the penalty spot. So he scored 14 goals in all campaigns. Jonathan David, the Canada international, definitely looking like he may be getting a summer move if he continues playing like this, but he managed to score for Lille. Dusan Vlahovic coming with the reply in the 60th minute. Lille conceded a penalty, but it finished 1-1 for Thiago Motta's side. Next match, another shock loss. Real Madrid losing 3-1 at the hands of AC Milan. Goals coming from Theo, Alvaro Morata and Reinders, the Dutch international, in the 12th minute, the 39th minute and the 73rd minute respectively. A goal coming from Vinicius Jr. via the penalty spot in the 23rd minute, people. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Carlo Ancelotti's shoulders. However, in this past weekend's fixture in the La Liga, they did well to win 4-0 against Osasuna. Vinicius Jr. getting a hat-trick in that match. However, there's still some bad news. It's not all positive news for Real Madrid with the injuries of Rodrigo and Eder Militao, who's torn his ACL for the second time in 2 seasons. He got an ACL injury, he was out for some time. Now he's unfortunately a victim of the same ACL injury, so we hope that that's not going to have a negative effect on his playing career, people. But they did well to win. Still a lot of pressure for Carlo Ancelotti. Mind you, they do sit in second position in the La Liga, but it's still early, people. It's still early, and they lost 4-0 as well, but it's still early, people. Next match, Celtic hosted RB Leipzig, the Scottish side. Also another shock when you would have expected RB Leipzig to do better, but the German side lost 3-1 to the Scottish side. Goals coming from Kuhn in the 35th and the 41st minute, in the 46th minute, in the 46th minute, and a goal coming from the Japanese international Hatate in the 72nd minute. A single goal coming from Baumgartner in the 23rd minute, but if you were a betting person, you would have bet against RB Leipzig, but Celtic did really well to get a win. They're really pushing Brendan Rodgers' side, looking like they want to play some more Champions League football. But if they do qualify for the last 16, which I think they will, people, by the looks of it, they're looking strong, it's going to be a lot harder for them. Can they progress on further? Depending on who their opponent is going to be, but it's going to be a big team, people. It's going to be hard for them, but the Scottish fans will definitely be happy to see them basically perform this well. Next match, Dortmund with a win against Sturm Graz. It was only a 1-0 win, against Sturm Graz. You would have expected them to win like a 3 or 4-0 win, but understandably, one thing I've noticed with the Champions League, the different tactics of football kind of go against each other. Obviously, the bigger side will come out stronger. We've seen some giant killings, but mind you, when you play the league often, you get used to German football. I'm talking about Dortmund. So when you get to play a team like Sturm Graz, you don't have a lot of information on them, and Sturm Graz being a smaller side, being comfortable not having the ball, and obviously Dortmund having more possession in such a match. But you would expect them to do better again, maybe 3 or 4 goals, but they're still doing really well. They're currently in 7th position, so a win is a win, and one trait of a top team is that being able to get wins even when you're not performing at your best. But they did win. They did well to get the single goal from Daniel Marlin in the 85th minute. Next match, PSV beat Girona 4-0. It looks like PSV are a much bigger side, but they're an even side. Again, a stylistical thing, people. Playing Dutch side and a Spanish side, the football's kind of different. PSV are more, how can I say, probably athletic side. However, Spanish side are more used to more like a tiki-taka approach of playing short with a more, how can I put it, a mental type of game. But unfortunately, they couldn't translate that in this match against PSV. Now, you have to understand, for Girona, they're not a team that plays Champions League a lot. So that's an added number of fixtures for the Spanish side. A lot of people didn't expect them to qualify for the Champions League. Nobody will put their money on Girona qualifying for the Champions League at the beginning of last season, but they did well to qualify. However, it has been looking difficult, to say the least, for Girona. More fixtures and bigger opponents, so it's still early though. There's still 4 more games to go. Goals coming from Flamingo, Tillman, Bagayoko, and an own goal from Krejci in the 88th minute. So they'll definitely be looking to do better in their next fixture. A 4-1 win for Dinamo Zagreb against Slovan Bratislava. Goals coming from Spikic, Sukic, and Klonovic. definitely Croatian players. They won 4-1 against Slovan Bratislava with a single goal coming from Sterlek in the 5th minute. It was looking like they were gonna win it. The Slovan Bratislava fans were definitely excited to see that goal. Unfortunately, Dinamo Zagreb is a team that understands Champions League football. I think they've definitely, in their history, they have won it. I'm not sure. Don't check me on that, people. But they won 4-0 in this match against Slovan Bratislava, and that finishes it, people. That's our last fixture of the Champions League. A lot of fixtures, 18 in total. But this new format has made it interesting, to say the least. You're seeing a lot of, with this new format now, teams are playing 2 teams from each pot. And with the new coefficient, you're playing teams that are basically weaker than you. If you're a big team, you're going to play the smaller teams and the bigger teams. So, such as Atletico Madrid versus PSG, Inter Milan versus Arsenal, in some sorts, Sporting versus Man City. So, it makes it for an interesting format. And with this new format, it basically shows that we're getting to see bigger teams play each other earlier in this Champions League. But that kicks it off. But that rounds it up, people, for round 4's Champions League results. And we're going to be covering round 5, 6, 7, and 8. And join us, people, when we cover the Champions League further on here at We The Pod Football. We disky, we transfers, we history, we goals. We out, people.